Okay, hello, welcome back. Part number 3. We have a window capture of the Microsoft Word document. It's an image of the game table from OBS that we put in a Word document, and on that Word document map, we put all the forests, the little buildings, and the fields. And we're going to flip between them like so. This is the image live looking down at the game table. And the next window is the Word document. We're missing some buildings and the bordered fields. So for simplicity, we've had the cornfields put in middle of the table and near the bottom left center, by the bridge, and then top left corner another cornfield. As I've said on several occasions, the conformity of the field to the hexagons isn't necessary. The fields could be square, and most of the time they are. They're not usually oblong. As you can see, the square top left corner, the square in the middle of the game table, and then the oblong shapes conforming to the terrain, if you will. And those fields can simply be bordered or just fences. And at the bottom of our live view, which is what this is, you can see we have some fences that are getting ready to be put onto fabric, and some marshland indicators. The bordered or the small fences that get applied to fabric is so that you can take a field and go down the slope of a hill. So essentially what you want to do is not make a fabric of a shape, but only a fabric strip, and put those fences, hot glue if you will, onto the strip of fabric so that you can make the strip of fabric in the shape of a field, and that can go up and down the slope of a hill. That's the idea. It doesn't happen very often where you can get that kind of feature in the terrain for a war game. But in this case, that's what we're doing. And you can see, well, we're missing some buildings and so on. There are some details we haven't got, and we don't know what we're going to do with those marshes. So maybe nothing. They just look cool. Maybe top left corner, any place where there's a fork in a river, it's kind of a marshy land. So instead of the forest up there, top right hand corner, we could make that into a marsh and save those trees and put them somewhere else, maybe. Or in some cases, any one of these forest hexes could be a marsh, and that way we would have more. What's should be saying is that we have established the Vicksburg scenario and all the terrain needed for that separately from what you're looking at here. So I printed all of these forest icons, clumps of forest. I printed way more than for this type of game because this was all done for Excalibur, the miniatures game. And in that map, beautiful as it is, we talk about it often, it's a lot of forestation. So that's why so many of these trees, these clumps of trees, were printed. And in so doing, now I have a lot of extra. I can set up 2 game tables. The Vicksburg scenario doesn't have a ton of forest, but it is an 8x5 scenario. This is a 4x3. And we're going to be using some of the regiments that we've already got designed for the Vicksburg Champion Hill. I'm sorry, it's not Champion Hill. It's the order of battle for Champion Hill. and some from Vicksburg. It's a composite game. The Vicksburg D-Day, if you will, scenario, the invasion scenario, is a composite of the battles in the region. Vicksburg being, the prize. So that table is 8x5, and that's going to have a kind of a combination of all the things that were involved in the fleet action and the infantry action of the region. So that's what that's about. And that means there are buildings and there are extra bridges. And these are some of those we're looking at right now. Now, you can see the difference between a painted, finished bridge and one that's just the finished gray filament printing, 3D printed one. It stands out better when you give it some color, like the road on the right side and the white, if you will, light color stone bridge. It makes it stand out. And of course, that's all a question of time and how much time we can spend doing it. The cornfields, same thing. How much time can we devote to painting them green and then brushing them on the top with yellow to show the corn tasseling? Because a cornfield without the tassels just looks like really tiny trees. Very, very orderly trees. But it's a lot better when you have a cornfield, especially, and of course, a 3D printed one that looks realistic. And the same goes for the buildings. They haven't been painted yet either. It's all in due course. And so that's where we're at. I just wanted to get this together and get it out there and start moving some units into the scenario. I have no idea what's going to happen, what it is. All I know is I concentrated on the terrain, which is almost always the case, and then see what kind of battle develops from that, spontaneous arrangement. So let's take a look again. Flipping to the Word document, back to live, Word, 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 live. Yeah, so you get the idea. It's pretty cool. It always takes time. It takes time to put this together. And what's the other important thing? Well, in this case, I was going to say the portability, being able to store this game in the back area. But in this case, I can't do that. Why? Because I used that big fabric that we printed for the quad game. And I can't really move it now. So that is the downside. Having a big fabric draped over it's meant for an 8x5 table, and this is a 4x3, so this big draping fabric makes the table I think it's 1/4 inch plywood or MDF. Usually if the fabric is exactly 4x3, then that's not a problem. But in this case, that 8x5 fabric is draping over the whole thing, and now I can't move it. I can push it away and do it that way, but the idea of the battle stack 2x2 construction in the back area was to stack a battle upon a battle. So 3 battles can be stacked and 1 can be on the game table. And that is where we're at. All right, so next thing to do would be to go through and pick out some units and put them out there and see what the winds can tell us for the type of scenario.